Hey, what's up? I'm X, and I'm so unbelievably excited for Trailblazer Reloaded, and I hope that you are too. I have heard from many players, well, I really like the idea of leagues, but I've never played before, and I wouldn't know where to start, and the whole thing sounds pretty overwhelming. In this video, I'm gonna do my best to give you a breakdown of how the game mode will actually work. No hypotheticals. With my league's experience in the past, I feel that I am confident that I can tell you with real-time examples. And while it is impossible for me to pick every region, I will be giving you a brief rundown of each region and what your time there will look like. Before we start, I do want to say I hope you all do a fair amount of playing around by yourselves without looking at guides immediately. Some of the most fun you'll have in leagues is messing around trying things out that you would never normally do. Trust your guts. Let's get right into it. Leagues, very much like subscribing to this YouTube channel, will make you feel powerful. You're basically playing the standard game with superpowers. You'll start the game in Lumbridge. We are given all of Misthalin and Karamja as freebie regions, meaning you'll have Lumbridge, Varrock, Dig Site, Fossil Island, Drainer, and Edgeville to your disposal right off the bat. You'll have a gigantinormous list of tasks to complete for points. These tasks will range in difficulty from milk a cow to kill the Abyssal Sire, or at least in terms of Misthalin. Now these tasks will give corresponding higher or lower points given their difficulties, and these points will push you to different tier thresholds. When you reach a new tier, you will be given the option of a new relic, which will give you some new superpowers for the game as well as multiplying your XP or your drop rates. It's important to note that this is how it has worked, and while it still probably will work this way, I reserve the chance that it might be a little bit different. Now your relics are going to be up to your discretion and playstyle. It is worth noting that you cannot change your answer. Choosing the wrong relic for players in the past meant that they were finished with the game mode entirely. As for the case of not picking Last Recall in the first league, which effectively let you teleport anywhere you wanted, these choices matter and you should consider them carefully. The relics will have a sort of path that they are itching you towards. To cover every person's playstyle, while you can still play however you'd like, certain relics will make your endgame goals a lot easier, as the endgame for leagues are typically complete X amount of raids, or get 200 mil in whatever skill. Your relics will be complementing these goals, so figure out pretty early if you'd like to go the PVM or skiller route, or maybe something in between. With these tier thresholds, you'll also be unlocking new regions. Now this is the most important part of your league's career and is something that you should start thinking about now. Also, the order in which you choose these regions will be significant as well. I'd love to tell you what I am choosing and the order and how I decided on these choices as well. Unlocking a region will give you a free teleport to that location just about wherever and whenever you want, as well as a good number of quests completed for that region as well. I'm going to be starting my league's journey in Karend, as I believe that is a great place to start skilling, as it houses a lot of incredibly good skilling methods, especially with early/mid-game with things like Wintertot and Seracnus for supplies. I also want to have COX unlocked for later. I'm then going to pick Asgarnia, because Asgarnia has God Wars, which I believe is one of the most important parts of any league for utility, which now includes Nex. Players who do not pick Asgarnia will have a Fighter Torso and Obsidian as their best melee gear, and Unfortified Masori for range. The utility of the God Swords is also unbelievable in leagues. We were doing Theater of Blood with no food and only Saradomin God Swords because we had 20% spec energy, for example. You'll also get the Cerberus Boots, Defenders, and a Max Cape, which you do not have to worry about maxing because everybody will be maxed. Lastly, I will be choosing the Desert, which might feel like a weird last choice, but I know that I would like to finish up at Tombs of Amascut. I also don't anticipate that the last region will be too long to unlock. These should all progress pretty quickly and nicely. The Desert will give me access to Ancients, all of the TOA rewards, MTA, Temporos, and some pretty nice training methods like Blackjacking and Pyramid Plunder. The Desert is going to be a no-brainer for anybody looking to do raids, but doesn't offer much in terms of general PVM. To touch on some of the other areas, just to keep your options open, Mauritania will give you a Black Mask and a Salve, which are huge damage bonuses, as well as Barrows. The endgame of that region looks a lot like Theater of Blood as well as doing the Nightmare. Taranwin gives you access to Zulrah and Prifddinas, which will give you the Blowpipe and the F-Bow/Crystal Armor. To me personally, this region is not strong enough this time around, but you'll get to do a lot of Corrupted Gauntlet and the rabbit, I guess. The Wilderness is also a pretty strong choice this time around as well. It only lacks endgame team content. You'll get a Voidwaker, the Rings, the Webweaver/Thamarins, all of Corp, and the Dagon High and Imbued Capes. Just don't get PK'd by Torvesta, but if you do, you can just run back and pick up your items anyways, because everybody here is an Iron Man. Kandarin in the first league was such a no-brainer for the Zenites, and the Trident and the Abyssal Tentacle, but it's rather weak this time as it's gained almost no items or methods since then. It is a big loss to lose Piety by not choosing this region, however. The training methods are kinda limited as well. There's no endgame PVM here unless you really count Thermi. Lastly, we have the Fremennik, which has the Dagonoth Kings as well as their rings, Lunar Spells, and Vorkath. Your endgame looks a lot like doing a billion Vorkath, or maybe the Duke if you've also picked the Desert. Those are the regions, but here are some things to consider. Why should you play? Leagues doesn't come around all the time. We were expecting it every year consistently, and we had such a long gap to get this one. You really don't want to say that you wish you played this time, because it might not ever come back around. Being able to find new and interesting ways to do content you've done a million times is unbelievably fun. Replace your food with an SGS. Maybe you use a Tumikins at Vorkath instead. It doesn't matter. You just won't be able to do this kind of thing in the main game, so seize your opportunity, even if you don't like it. So, how do you play, and what do you do as soon as you get off the boat? Do your tasks. Let your tasks be your guide the entirety of the time. Do every task you have the requirements for, and then when you have that one that you're close to, work on the next one. If you blindly do tasks that you are able to do, you will gain task points, experience, and probably a lot of gear along the way. Racing to the highest tiers of relics and drop rates/XP is going to be the most important thing for you. The thing that I love so much about leagues are these little tasks. Even the smallest pop-up, like milking a cow, can be so unbelievably fun. And if you want any real-time advice or feedback on your choices, you can always join or guest in my clan Dream, in-game, and ask me there. It's safe to assume that I'll be playing as much leagues as I possibly can. I hope that this video was helpful. I'll see you next time. If you have any questions, please let me know. See ya.